because apparently Zoom has added some notifications on the receiving side of people's Zooms so that they can bow out if they don't want to be recorded. Well, that doesn't really help us since, we're trying to learn some algebra. And the good news about all of that is that this is kind of our last day of actual instruction because it's the end of 8 weeks and there is no more new material. We've covered all 3 units that are part of our Google Classroom curriculum. All 3 of those unit tests are out there, posted for you to complete in Google Forms. So if some of you have not even finished the first one, you got your work cut out for you. Some have stopped after the first one and still have 2 to go. Next week on Tuesday, the final will be released. So I'm not going to assign any additional homework, but you got to make sure that you're caught up. Remember, those tests, those unit tests, those 3 tests make up 80% of your grade. So got to get those done. You can take them twice, but we're running out of time to do that. And with this being a holiday weekend, with lots going on, it's going to be tough to stay in communication. I will be happy to respond if you text me. May not be able to respond right away because I have a lot on my plate this weekend. But don't wait till Tuesday. If you've got an issue about something that you're stuck on, don't wait till Tuesday because that will have cost you 4 days where you could be getting ready and doing some good work on this stuff to get caught up. So don't be bashful. Don't be afraid to contact. Don't act like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. If you want to finish, everything has to be done by the end of the day next Thursday. That's when grades go in. So every day at this point counts. So don't waste it. Questions, anybody? Yeah. Okay, so what I posted for the final is a study guide. And for those of you that are in here in classes, does everybody have, no, you wouldn't have one, Jessica, because you weren't here? Kayla? Okay. Huh? What? You don't have one? Okay. What are you working on?
Not there.
Well, I thought I had enough copies made. It turned out that is not true. So everybody take a deep breath. I'll be back in just a minute. I got to go make some copies. Back to this now. This study guide, I think there's like 42 problems in it. The final is only 10 questions. Yeah, it's 50 points, 10 questions. So, we've had 3 units. There's generally 3 questions per unit in the final, plus another question kind of randomly. So the study guide here is designed to give you some examples of all the different types of problems that we've encountered this year. So you see, we start off with these equations, multi-step equations, some inequalities. At the bottom of that first page are a couple of literal equations. I know it's not a favorite, but it is necessary because we have to know how to do conversions from slope-intercept or to slope-intercept, and those are basically literal equations. course, it couldn't be an algebra test without some word problems, but you know, all these word problems, every one that we've done follows a specific pattern. Does anybody remember the pattern?
Oh, I want to say it's like the same as the slope thing.
Mm-hmm.
Y equals mx plus b.
Yeah, y equals mx plus b, where y is the total. The mx is your variable term, right? M times x. And b is the constant. They all follow that pattern. So I don't think we're going to be able to get through all of these, and it's not my intention to work every single problem on this, because it's really designed to help you identify the things that you're not comfortable with or you're not sure about. So if you look at this grouping of these first four problems, anybody have any issues or feel like they need some additional explanation solving any of those equations?
The second one, can you do it, please?
Number two,
Uh-huh.
okay, 6 equals 4 plus x over 4. Remember, when we're equation solving, we do PEMDAS in reverse. So we want to leave the variable term to a later step, right? X is tied up in a fraction. X is being divided by 4. So we don't want to mess with that yet. What am I going to do with that other 4 that's right after the equal sign? Subtract 4 from both sides. Exactly right, Jessica. So once I do that, I have 2 equals x over 4. I've subtracted 4 already. I got rid of that, canceled it on the right, subtracted 4 from the 6, and now I'm ready to isolate x, get the x by itself. And at this point, you do the same thing that we always do to cancel out a fraction. Fraction's a division problem. So our opposite operation is going to be, all right, exactly. We're going to multiply by that denominator. Both sides times 4. And if it helps, put the 4 over 1 where the fraction is. It might help you see that you have a 4 in the denominator that's being canceled by this other 4. It's in the numerator. So your answer is 8 equals x. If you're not sure that you got the right answer, go back to the original problem and plug it in where you found the x to begin with. So 4 plus 8 over 4. Well, what is 8 over 4? It's 8 divided by 4. 2. 4 plus 2 is 6 on the right, 6 on the left, 6 equals 6. You got it. Okay? Better?
Okay, yes, thank you.
Worse? I hope I'm not making it worse. Now, 3 and 4, I'm a little concerned about, because I still see folks that are having trouble with equations where we have variables on both sides of the equal sign. And you know who you are. But it doesn't change how we approach it. We got to get all the variables on one side, all the integers on the other side. And how do you decide which way to go? Well, y'all know that I don't like negative variables, so I'm going to try to make sure that I end up with positive variables. And I'm going to use number 3 as an example on that, because if you look at both sides of that, you're going to end up with negative variables right from the get-go. Well, you're wondering how I know that without even doing anything yet. Well, because I'm already doing the distributive property in my head. Negative 3x minus 4 equals negative 8 times the quantity 3 plus x. See, I already know I'm going to end up with negative 8x on this side and negative 24. You know, and it doesn't matter with an equation. It does not matter whatsoever which side you put your variables on. You know, when we're doing inequalities, we want to keep them positive. We want to keep our variables positive whenever possible. I already did the multiplication. It's negative 8x. I did negative 8 times x from the parentheses. So how do you decide which way to go with your x terms? Well, you take the larger negative and you cancel it with its opposite. And the opposite is plus 8x. If I did the opposite, if I did plus 3x, I'm still going to end up with negative variables on the right. So you just bring it down. 5x minus 4 equals negative 24. How many people would guess what the answer is at this point? Anybody? Could it be negative 4?
Yes, negative 4.
Good. So you've already done the whole problem, probably, or did you just see that? Either way is fine. Good job. Part of the reason I asked that is because sometimes kind of looking ahead, taking a little peek ahead and anticipating what you're going to do on the next step or what the next step might result in can actually be a good part of your problem solving process. And you're not going to get surprised. Or if you get an answer that you didn't expect, it might be a red flag for you to go back and check something. So again, I used opposite operations up here, opposites here to cancel, opposites here to cancel. That's just plus for minus because I'm going from one side of the equation to the other. Anytime you cross that equal sign, you got to use a plus for a minus or a minus for a plus because you're canceling on one side so you can use it on the other. And be sure to do it on both sides. Don't just do it on one side. And then the last step, now my opposite is just to divide. Because now I got 5 divided by 5, that's 1. That's what I want. I want 1x. X equals negative 4. You know, maybe you're not like me. Maybe you don't care about negative variables. That's fine. You could have done it the other way. You could have added 3x to start off to both sides. You would have still ended up with the same answer. It just forces you to do things a little bit different order. Okay, next. Questions on that, anybody? Ooh, inequalities. Single variable inequalities are just going to fit on a number line. Anybody have trouble with that minus sign and number 5 there? It's in front of the parentheses. It goes automatically into 7 and what else? Into the X, right? It goes into, it changes the sign of any terms that are in the following parentheses. Let me see here. I think I can raise the screen. Do this one. Even though it's just a minus sign, it's still a distributive property problem. The only thing that you're distributing now is this negative sign. Or if you want to think about it like -1. Okay. Just changes the signs. Now I got to add 7. Because I'm still working towards it. The goal on all these is the same, right? We want to get the variable all by itself. 1x, 1y, whatever it is. So I got -x now less than 6. Can I stop there?
Want to be -6 because it's -1 at the top.
I added 7.
Oh yeah, never mind.
No, I added 7. It's not going to be a -6.
Yeah, I see that now.
Sign of the larger number. Remember rule number 2.
And no, you can't stop because you don't have. Yeah.
I can't leave that as a -x because it means the inverse. So I'm going to divide both sides by -1, and then another special rule comes in. What happens with an inequality when we divide both sides by a negative number? Change the sign. All right. Excellent. Yep. Reverse that inequality symbol. Yep. All I'm trying to do is change that to a positive x. This becomes -6 because I'm dividing a positive by a negative. And now x is greater than 6 because I had to reverse the inequality symbol. And that's the main reason why that problem is on this sheet, is to get you to remember that rule. Change that inequality symbol, change the direction when you see that you've got to divide or multiply by a negative number. Questions, anybody? Number 6 is just more of the same. Oh, we got a question about number 8. What could that be? Hate is so strong. It's just a math problem.
I strongly dislike that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a feeling that's shared by many, many Excel Center students. But just because it's letters mostly, it doesn't change how we solve it. It says solve for D. All that means is we got to get the D by itself. So we need to do something with this A. How do we get rid of that A? Yeah, -A, -A. Subtract it or make it a negative. However you see that, whatever it makes sense to you, either one means the same, it's fine. And rewrite it. -A plus 10. Okay, we're almost there.
Now we can do the same thing with the C because we have to get D by itself.
We have to get D by itself.
Divide C.
Divide by C on both sides. That's excellent.
We get D equals 10 minus A over C.
Yeah, that's one way to write it. You can write it that way. Because this CD here, this CD is multiplication, so our opposites divide. On the right-hand side, we can't do that division. And I think Jessica said 10 minus A over C. I wrote it D equals negative A plus 10 over C, but it didn't make any difference. It's the same thing. My terms still have the same sign. That's a negative A minus A in both of these. I like to put the variable before the numbers. That's my habit.
And that would be the answer.
That's the answer. We solved for D. We got D by itself. Now, if we knew what A was and we knew what C was, we could actually do the division. But until somebody tells us, all we're doing is manipulating that equation so that we get the chosen variable all by itself. That, I don't know how much of that, hopefully you guys could hear that at home or wherever you're at. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, now I'm gonna pause the recording and give you guys a chance to write an equation here. And be sure you write the equation because there's an assignment that asked to write equations, and some people weren't writing equations. They were just giving me an answer. I don't know how you got the answer. I'm focused on the process. So I need to know that you understand the process. Sorry about that. Missed some stuff on the recording, but you guys were here. You'll get the benefit of what we talked about, which is good. Text me if you got a question about something. Don't wait till Tuesday.
Don't forget to send me those,
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good job, everybody. Have a good weekend, and we'll see everybody next week. If you don't need any help, don't worry about coming. Just get in there and get the test done, get your assignments done. But I will be online here. I'll have the Zoom lesson open Tuesday and Thursday for anybody that needs help. So stop on in.